and welcome to issue number 14 of Headline Heroes, a comedy podcast where we take today's headlines and create a comic book origin story. My name is Drew Mick.
I'm Nathan Haynes.
And I'm Tanner Ackerman.
Hey, guys. So, boy, I'm just feeling so refreshed. I just got back from my vacation. It was very good.
How was that?
Oh, so good, just out there in the wilderness,
You sound rested.
Yeah, under the stars, just hanging out, just doing manly things, out there.
Could you list a couple of the specific things you did, please?
Well, I was getting to that, Nathan. We had a boat, and we went out, and there was some fishing went on. That happened.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and
Did you catch any fish?
Well, I didn't exactly fish myself. No, that was basically everyone else. I just kind of went out there and sat quietly reading my book.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But other than that, I did other manly. I did buy some salmon, and I caught that, I guess, and I made that.
Was it moving in some way, or how in what way did you catch it?
Well, it was moving in so much that as when I bought it, the man moved it and put it into the wrapper and wrapped it up himself.
So he caught a good deal.
Yeah, it was good. It was $5 per salmon slice, but and then I put some balsamic glaze on that and put that into the oven. It was very good. But other than that, some very manly, I was out there. We were under the stars, just doing things.
Yeah. What was your I know you're a real star nut.
Yeah.
What's your favorite constellation and its name, please? I know it's hard to. I get that too. It's hard to pick, but I do need you to pick right now.
You know what my favorite constellation is? My favorite.
I don't. That's why I asked.
It's the sun.
The greatest constellation of all, Soul.
Well, see, it keeps us warm. I think it's underrated, really.
Drew, did you actually leave this weekend?
So anyway, this is Headline Heroes comedy podcast where we,
as you can tell,
where we make some goofs, do some things. I did actually go somewhere.
Hey Drew, what does the fish look like, real quick?
Oh, it's got it's got the spots on it, and with the little tail on it, and the very long neck.
Oh, so, yeah, it's the longest neck. So
it can reach those leaves.
Drew, are you describing a giraffe?
So this is Headline Heroes.
Hey, Tanner, but real quick sidebar, is a giraffe a fish? I guess I don't really know.
Have you guys ever seen a giraffe?
Shit.
Yeah, but we went out, me and my family, we went up north by a lake, sleeping under the stars in our cabin with cable. And if we sat...
Was there something wrong with the cabin that you could sleep under the stars? Or was
no,
it
just anyone is sleeping under the stars no matter where they are. Like everywhere is under the stars, Nathan. Come on.
I guess you're right.
Yep.
Damn it, Drew. You got me good. You really got me good. I'm gonna go squeegee this egg off of my face.
Maybe the funniest part about my little trip was where our resort is. You know how some houses get these wood carving things of eagles or totem poles or bears or something like that out front of their houses, and I saw one there down the street from where we were that was carved in the likeness of Shrek holding a can of beer.
Now you did send me a picture of that, and it was.
I wish I'd saved it. I'm not sure if I did.
Come on, Drew.
I'll just have to drive up there. Well, Tanner, you're going to be up in that neck of the woods.
That was true for our old pal.
It would
Shrek.
be about an hour and 10 minutes away from where you were, but yeah, I think it's worth it.
It's probably
those
worth
sites
the trip
to go see. Everywhere you're seeing Paul Bunyan, Paul Bunyan this, Paul Bunyan that, and his blue giraffe up there, but yeah, you got to go see that wooden Shrek with the can of beer. So Nate, what are we doing?
Well, Drew, if you couldn't already tell, we're gonna sit down here today, you, me, Tanner. We're gonna put our heads together. We're gonna reach into a magic bag filled with headlines of the weird and bizarre that we've collected from the past week. We're gonna pick one out. We're gonna put it on the table and see what kind of hero or villain origin story we can make. That does
explain the bag over in the corner.
Pay no attention to its sudden movements. It's a sorting hat kind of thing.
I just assumed that was a giraffe.
A fish, you mean?
A fish.
So, Tanner, I kind of forgot what we made last week, just because it feels like it's been so long. So what are we making? What did we make last week, and what are we making this week?
Okay, so last week we made the villain Professor of Persuasion
Ah, that's right. That's
part
right.
of Basilisk's cabinet out of Florida.
I'm glad that's what we arrived at.
So that means this week we're gonna do a hero, and I've already picked the article. It's number 11 for you guys. Comes to us from UPI, and it is Kentucky woman indicted for stealing 15,000 in Girl Scout cookies. So, yeah.
Okay, it says stealing, but maybe that's just what everyone thinks. Maybe she needed them for a noble purpose. So I don't. No, let's not hopefully dwell too much on the stealing part of it.
We started at a thief and ended up with a hero. I think we got this.
Yeah, we did do that with
I'm not
Long
real worried.
John or John Long.
John Krim.
Oh, that was the John Krem.
John Krim, famous French thief who races across rooftops. He stole the Mona Lisa, a replica, out of the museum.
From the gift shop.
From the gift shop.
And he did pay for it, but like he didn't see him pay for it, so it might as well have been stealing.
But you know what he did? That madman, when they offered him the pennies back in change, he said no thanks. He walked away, robbed the place.
So wait, he actually didn't. Wait, hold on a sec.
I don't understand, Drew.
Yeah, well, you're not on the same level as he is. You know, he's playing 6-dimensional chess, really, when it comes down to it. You'll see. Oh
You'll see
boy,
my end
you'll
game.
see. Tanner, you'll see, Tanner. Oh boy.
So what's everyone's favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Well, what do they call them?
Caramel Delights.
Yeah, they used to call them Samoas, right?
Yeah.
Those are good.
The caramel delights or whatever they call them now.
Yeah, those are good. I do like the good old-fashioned Thin Mints.
That's a weird way to pronounce caramel delights, but okay.
Yeah.
And that's the fun segment of where I name the two things that I know from Girl Scout cookies.
You got peanut butter patties. You got the lemonade cookies that they came out with.
Fruit? No, thank you.
They're surprisingly good. Jesus, what else do they have? Damn it! Now I've exhausted my knowledge. 4 cookies in.
We got Caramel Delights / Samoas, Cranberry Citrus Crisp, Lemonades, Do-si-dos or peanut butter sandwiches, peanut butter patties, rah-rah raisins, Savannah Smiles.
Oh boy! Wow, Drew, you're really good at remembering all these.
Yeah,
off the top of the
I
old
just
dome.
had a moment of darkness, and I'm back. What did I just say?
I've never seen the movie Rain Man, but is this kind of what it was like?
It's like Rain Man, exactly. I just looked down at the floor and I spilled toothpicks, and they spelled out exactly what the Girl Scout cookies were.
I don't think that's what that movie was about.
No, don't you remember the scene when they're coming down the escalator and he's holding a big box of Thin Mints and he's like standing there and he drops them all? Like you remember? He knows how many are on the ground. Tanner, you remember?
Oh, yeah.
And
now I remember.
there was a giraffe in there, right?
Yeah, the big blue giraffe.
Ridden by
That's
Paul
how they
Bunyan.
caught it.
What were we just talking about?
We got this. Okay, let's recenter. We got a woman. She's from Kentucky, and she stole $15,000 worth of cookies.
Is this more of the stuff related to the university in England?
Well, it does specifically say Kentucky.
Does even in the headline.
In the headline.
But is it related?
In that they were experimenting with food?
No, guys, not everything has to relate back to the 2 large entities.
But I mean, I feel so far with that entity, it's been breakfast food, like coffee and donuts, which I do think, like we definitely mentioned it with donuts, that it ties into controlling the police force.
So the first thing that came to my head, which it might be too surface level, is like, what if she's a superhero who has different sets of powers based on whatever cookie she has just eaten? So like I don't think that makes a ton of sense on its surface, but did you ever remember seeing, I never watched this show, but the television show Ben 10, where he had like,
He's got the Omni
he has an Omni wrist watch, and he could like transform into 10 different aliens basically, and each one of them was good at like specifically a thing, and that was it.
So he eats a Thin Mint, got that cool breath, and boom.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Oh, I thought you were describing the show.
No, yeah. No. He just has a watch that he like sets.
So he eats his watch.
Yep, Tanner eats his watch. God damn it.
It legitimately sounded like Nate just walked away.
I think he did.
Sorry, I had to run to go get a Diet A&W, but I hurried back real quick.
Need that refuel.
So what are you guys thinking?
So why was she stealing then?
Maybe she's poor.
Was it a Robin Hood kind of thing?
It could just be that she needed them, and yeah, maybe she's just very poor.
She wants to do good, and she somehow discovered her powers, but she couldn't afford to go buy $15,000 worth of cookies.
She could have been framed.
So she had her powers and then stole the stuff because she's just like, I gotta do good, but I gotta do bad first, I suppose.
It's an impactful scene in the movie that will inevitably result from this episode.
So if we're gonna go down that route, how would she have gotten the powers to begin with?
Maybe she's like a Girl Scout troop leader, and she was at one of those things, like in front of Walmart where they're selling the cookies, and she got struck by lightning.
Okay. I'm picking up that you really like someone getting struck with lightning.
Hey, one of these times it's gotta happen.
One of these times it will happen. What if she's the original Girl Scout?
Wait, I like this idea of an eternal first girls. Like, she's been alive for a very long time. But then why is she poor? You think she would have been smarter to get money.
Maybe she doesn't realize she lost memory and doesn't realize she's super powered. Kind of like Donald Blake does that, or Arthur Curry. It's like Hancock, except with like if Hancock wasn't using his superpowers.
And signing declarations.
And maybe she couldn't use her superpowers until she had Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, so like she tries a Girl Scout cookie.
Yeah. So from that, it's kind of like she somehow in this lore, the Girl Scouts descended from her. Somehow she created this group maybe a long time ago, fell on hard times and forgot who she was somehow, never touched Girl Scout cookies, which gave her powers. And then somehow she rediscovers them and remembers who she is. And now she's back on the scene.
What if, hold on one second. Let's just do a little bit of quick research. Let's see how old the Girl Scouts
March 12,
are.
1912.
Perfect. So like, what if she created the Girl Scouts, got them going with the cookies, and then like something happened to her that she got stuck somewhere deep within the mountains or something. Like she just got stuck somewhere that she had no access to Girl Scout cookies, and slowly over time that caused her to lose her memories. So she not only needs the cookies to restore her powers, but also her memories. She needs to forget somehow, or she just got conked.
She was defeated one day and managed to like flee out of there, but at great cost. Like she was depowered, lost her memories.
So she was fighting the original Boy Scout.
She accidentally ate some Boy Scout popcorn.
That's actually something. What if the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts are at odds? Although I'm not sure I want to paint the Boy Scouts in that bad of a light.
I do.
Okay. I was never a Boy Scout.
Maybe it wasn't a malicious thing. Like maybe they're separate entities and never the two shall mix, but they don't like hate each other. She just happened to get somehow something of theirs managed to get her to lose her memory. I guess I don't know.
Maybe it is that like her weakness is like Boy Scout popcorn or stuff like that, and vice versa for Boy Scouts. They can't have Girl Scout cookies.
Or maybe back then, like tension between the two Scouts was very high and she was defeated. But now in this modern era, the Boy Scouts aren't bad. They're actually good people. And maybe the original Boy Scout has had a change of heart and tries to help this person rediscover who she was, but she maybe as her memories are returning, she doesn't trust what's going on with this guy because of their history.
Yeah, I like that. From we of course are discussing all this up front, but if I'm trying to imagine it from the perspective of like storytelling, like you slowly discover that this lady was the first Girl Scout, lost her memory, is now trying to like gain it back and fight crime and injustice again in this modern age. And she's got this guy who's helping her. And then eventually it's revealed that he was the first Boy Scout who maybe did this to her and feels a sense of duty to help her since he caused this to happen or something.
He's just like, God, we fought about things and it was stupid and I regret it. And now trying to make it up.
Now, tell me if this is dumb or not, but is this too much like man coming to save woman? Like, is this too much?
It's kind of what I was thinking too.
I don't want her whole thing to be like, oh, she is now empowered because a man took pity on her for a thing he did. Like, oh.
Yeah, I was a little worried about that too.
Well, what if we just took out?
God, I like the idea of the original Boy Scout though.
It was pretty cool.
Well, what if that's something that she can? Well, this could be like the genesis of a new almost like a Justice League, like another good group that we don't have to necessarily flesh out entirely right now, but like she lost her memory somehow. We do that. And then like eventually once she's back up in crime fighting, the original Boy Scouts like, holy shit, I thought you were dead. Come join our group.
That's one way to go with it.
And it's like you got the original Boy Scout, there's a thing called Venture Scouts, which is like older people, but like all these different like organizations for kids all have a representative in this league.
In this fiction we're weaving, we're stating that the Girl Scouts of America and the Boy Scouts of America were established as like a recruitment thing, an army thing, or what's going on? And then what we'll ultimately arrive at is them all coming together. I mean, are they sleeper agents?
I guess I sort of imagine them as more of a Justice League kind of thing, where like they're not for the army, they don't work for the US government. They may be in their own way. In the beginning they just started as like, I'm the OG Boy Scout, I'm trying to spread some good in this world and teach kids how to act. But as time went on and things got worse for mankind, the original Boy Scout had to be like, all right, looks like I got to use my powers a little more directly now, or something like that. Although the idea of having them be all these organizations as recruitment facilities to like find people with special powers is interesting.
Maybe that happens. Maybe these Scouts of America were established as the vision of the first Girl Scout or Boy Scout was that they would create this recruitment thing where they would create the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, and the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts would do all the ground level things, the stuff that is very important, but while the first Girl Scout and the first Boy Scout are out fighting the cosmic stuff, the bigger threats.
I mean, I think that's good. Like they had a multi-pronged approach to making the world a better place. The low level like stuff that the Scouts actually do, like literally picking up parks and like building benches for shit, but then also like the OG Boy Scout, Girl Scout, etc. had to set their sights a little bit higher to the more global threats.
What if Girl Scout and Boy Scouts worked together once long ago, but something happened and she fell off the radar, she lost her memory, and because she was gone, maybe presumed dead, the Boy Scout, the OG Boy Scout, also lost powers, but maybe not his memory. It's just kind of one of those things where they're yin and yang, I suppose.
What if we incorporate the idea of the idea we had where he thought he killed her, or like something, and he felt such guilt over it that he stopped doing his job as the original Boy Scout. And so now she comes back and she's got to get the band back together. Like the whole group dissolves, and now it's up to her to be like, nope, still alive, let's do this.
Oh, okay, so she saves him.
Does she hold a grudge against him?
I guess we'd have to decide what happened between them to sort of ascertain that, maybe.
So, like, they could have been on a mission together or something, and he had to make some call, and whatever his decision was, it caused her to essentially what he assumed die. I don't know what that could be specifically. I'm thinking more she's not bitter about it. Like, she thinks he made the right call. And like he's so grief stricken about it that he's out of the game. But she comes back and then like seeks him out and tries to get him back into crime fighting and all of that.
Oh, so she's the one who's just like, let it go. It was all right.
Yeah. The world needs whatever our super group is called.
Is it just them?
I was trying to think of some other.
There's the Cub Scouts
groups,
the little ones.
You got Cub Scouts.
It should just maybe
Venture
just
Scouts.
be Boy Scout and Girl Scout because there's the Venture Scouts, but that could just be the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts that grew up.
Yeah, if I could think of any other. Because I don't know, I'm just really hung up on this idea of a youth group superhero, like Justice League of representatives, but I can't think of any more like youth groups. So
yeah,
you could do 4-H.
Oh shit,
Cub Scouts, Brownies.
Did you guys have FBLA? Those Future Business Leaders of America. We had that.
I've kind of heard about that.
There's TAG, Talented and Gifted.
Would these all be offshoots of Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts? Like, okay, here's our business branch, the FBLA. Here's our agriculture branch, the 4-H. Kind of, it's just like people who have a nag for things will stand out.
I kind of imagine it's like, you got OG Boy Scout, Superman. OG Girl Scout, Wonder Woman. You got OG 4-H, Green Arrow. Like, I don't know what Batman would be, but like they would all be sort of a representative that were all for each of their respective organizations that were coordinating. And when Wonder Woman was presumed dead, Superman basically went into hiding because he felt so grief-stricken and guilty about it, and the whole group sort of fell apart.
But also there's smaller like subsidiary schools like kept going and continued on, but without them. Okay, and maybe that explains why there's such a disconnect between all these groups. It's kind of like the four houses of Hogwarts, I suppose. Like at one point, they came together and made their school. Yeah, except then they broke apart. Okay, all right, I like that. We're establishing in our universe that we had a Justice League a long time ago, like decades ago.
Yeah.
Or at least an organization that looks like the Justice League. I don't know. We probably have to come up with a fun name for it, don't we?
True.
Yeah.
Youth Troop. Goof Troop. Yeah, let's do Goof Troop.
Yep, Goof Troop.
I'm just gonna write that down real quick.
Wait, hold on. That's a dumb idea, Nate. Oh, what?
Drew, close your door. You got dumb people coming in.
God, I think we have what we want. I think we need to establish where did these individuals come from.
This is going to be a real lore heavy episode. Isn't it?
Yes.
Apparently.
Did they come out of space? Do they all need to eat these special cookies? But why would 4-H need that? Where are they getting their powers from? Because it all needs to tie back into, at some point, the OG Girl Scout needs to steal 15K worth of Girl Scout cookies.
We'll get there. Maybe these kids were all friends at one point. Like they all hung out with each other, like in the summer, they'd all get together during the day, hang out at night, and like maybe like a meteor. Maybe they were all hit by lightning. maybe a meteor dropped from the sky and like they all went to investigate it like a kid would if a meteor fucking fell from the sky, and that sort of like infected them with some sort of, I mean, I hate to do radiation, but god damn it, if
it sounds like Vandal Savage kind of.
Is that, I forget the origin, his whole deal.
He was a caveman who found a meteorite and then fell asleep in front of it and could never be killed again.
Now, did he just get real sleepy, or was he an idiot?
No, he was a caveman, and the rock was a warm rock, and it was warm, and it was the Ice Age.
You ever think about how much trouble the Justice League could have avoided if he just had slept somewhere else?
I think about that every day.
It just doesn't make sense. I've drawn charts. Why did he do it?
Ever wonder like how much trouble could have been avoided if like Lex didn't go bald?
I mean, really, his efforts to conquer the world were just him trying to compensate for his lack of hair. He felt inadequate.
He's got that baldness.
This is true.
Just like a giraffe.
Just like a giraffe. It's scary how much like a giraffe he is. Do you guys remember that episode of Superman TV show when Lex Luthor, he just kind of rubbed his neck a little bit and he completely extended it up into a large tree and took a bite of some leaves? And then just continued to talk about his evil plot. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
wasn't that also
weird?
That was also the climactic battle between Superman and Lex, where they just were thrashing their heads together, just whacking each other with their heads and their giant muscly necks.
Now, Drew, this suddenly took a weird erotic turn when you said muscly necks, and I
have some magazines I would like you to see.
I have to dial 911. I mean, go get an A&W.
Drew, we can't do a podcast while aroused.
Well, I do it every week, so I don't know what's wrong with you. Sorry, Mom.
All right. We need to establish where these four people came from, who they are. We know that they decided one day to create their separate schools that would ultimately work together and create a better generation of people, a more equipped world, I suppose.
So we're still trying to figure out how they got their powers. Is that right?
Yeah. Where did they come from? Oh, yeah. I guess you said the meteor thing. What if?
I mean, but we can do something else. Like that was just the first thing that came to my mind.
We could go the celestial thing, where like they are somehow gods, or maybe very young gods, but they came down onto this plane and decided to do stuff, I suppose.
What if like they are all that remains of sort of like another planet in some other galaxy that basically succumbed to crime and selfishness and evil and basically ended up destroying itself from the inside out as a result. And so these are like 5 refugees or whatever that have basically come to Earth and they look like humans, but are attempting to sort of help this world survive longer than theirs did.
Maybe they get here and they can somehow ascertain that the world is on the cusp of a world war, because I know that the Girl Scouts were established in 1912 or something.
Oh, that's a good. I mean, that's so good. I mean, we can also fudge the numbers here. Like
they land in like
the other ones.
They don't like what's going on in the world. It seems like tension is high. World war is going to happen. Maybe it does happen, and this is
so they're trying to prevent Earth from doing what their planet did.
Yes. Oh man, are these our first? If we do that, these are our first aliens.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so then they join the war effort then? Is that like where the accident happens that like makes her lose her memory? Or not necessarily lose her memory, but
I think maybe like they create their groups because of the war, and I think they've got to be active for like at least a few decades.
So World War II then.
Maybe okay, yeah. Then maybe World War II, and that's what happens. She falls out and everyone else falls away. They've got to be established. Like they were a very powerful super team.
Okay, so they come about right around World War One then.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we could say that. So did we want to do Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, 4-H, and FBLA?
No, we can do this. Come on, let's see what we got.
Like, why is the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts like? What is that school teaching? Like good deeds, like keeping the peace, but both of them are kind of preaching the same message. And then there's agriculture, and then there's business.
I'm not a Boy Scout or Girl Scout expert, but I would assume that like they saw that perhaps the world was still in a state where the world was not ready for like a group of young boys and girls all like hanging together and going on camping trips together. Like they saw that it had to be sort of segregated into
it was a different time back then.
Yeah, and so they were like, all right, this isn't perfect, but in order to get where we need to go, we'll start here. I don't know what you want to say about the 4-H guy, or girl, but they just saw that there was a lot of agriculture and they wanted to appeal to that specific area, or maybe they all had their specialties
on their planet. Industry had taken over, so they wanted to enforce, agriculture and farming and that kind of stuff. You never want to lose that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, FFA.
Oh yeah, FFA. There we go. Future Farmers America.
So we got FFA 4-H.
Boy, I'm sorry if you're a 4-H FFA member and listening to this.
Definitely sorry.
Guys, we're doing our best. But if you'd love to send us a letter and tell us what we did wrong, just
please talk to us.
Right in the garbage can. Just kidding. Send us a letter, please.
I mean, we could just create groups.
Okay, so like I feel like we have Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. I feel like we should pick either FFA or 4-H, because otherwise I'm worried there's gonna be too much overlap.
I think FFA, because it's very much
let's do FFA. It's
focused on farming. Maybe we just create our own nature school, and it could be farming, and it could be 4-H, whatever they do. Could be forestry, I don't know, but maybe there's sub schools of a nature school.
Okay.
There's a picture of Girl Scout cookies in front of me right now, and I'm just getting very...
Oh, we're losing him. Tanner, we're losing him.
Drew, giraffes.
What about those magical fish?
What about those stupid long horses?
I think we don't need to worry about all the different groups that much, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think we're getting too hung
maybe
up.
Just knowing that they exist is enough for the time being, maybe.
We can just say in general, other youth organizations are part of this.
Sure.
I think that's fair. We're getting
We
too
could
hung
just
up
leave it
on
open-ended in that it's, for right now, at least this first issue, it's just Boy Scout and Girl Scout. Girl Scout finds Boy Scout, and she's just like, we got to get the band together, and then it's up to us later on to figure out who is in that band.
Yeah. So I have an idea as far as the actual stealing the cookies goes.
Okay. Yeah, we need to talk about that.
So it could be an evil dude tells her that they're going to donate all these cookies to her to support her effort, and just says like, pick them up here at this date at this time. And then like they actually call on the cops and have them catch her getting them. And as far as the cops know, she was actually stealing them.
I like that. I think
I had another idea.
Go for it.
What if it was like she somehow is regaining her memories? Somehow, something leads towards it. She sees that this is what the Girl Scouts are doing now. This isn't the vision I had for them, and she just angrily steals them as a poorly conceived effort to like get back to what I started.
I see, but then do you want to throw out that her powers are from cookies?
Yeah, then we would have to sacrifice the cookies. But at the same time, then all of these aliens would have to have these cookies.
I mean, maybe their powers all manifest differently. I don't know that we can set whatever rules we want, too.
Okay.
I'm trying to decide, because like we can come up with if we go with either of your options, like I think it gives us more information to determine so if we did like Tanner's, then it's like, well, maybe she's stealing them because all she understands at this point in her memory regaining is that she needs those to remember or like to have power, and so she's just stealing them because she's desperate and she doesn't have anything else. But if we go with yours, like if we go with Drew's, it's pretty cut and dry. She's stealing them because she doesn't think the Girl Scouts are upholding what she originally created them for.
I think maybe we should just talk about what powers are, and then maybe through that we can figure out exactly what is going on with stealing the cookies.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so what's her powers?
I want to hear what you guys think, because I'm still very much on the I liked my thing of like the cookies giving her specific powers, but I am curious what other interpretations we can come up with that could lead to some cool stuff.
The only thing I can think of is the cookie thing as well, which I really liked that though.
Maybe she throws two of those bad boys down, gets a thin mint and a caramel delight, and she can, you know, combine those two, whatever those two powers are, somehow to making a completely different third power.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I think the only reason I'm trending towards this is the only other thing that I can personally think of is like just to make her basically Wonder Woman, but also she started the Girl Scouts, and like I don't know, I feel like there's more we can do.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. Plus, then she has a utility belt that has cookies in it,
or a Girl Scout sash that has them like tucked in there.
Oh, that's cool.
That's the original sash with badges. Maybe it's not so much the cookies, but maybe a long time ago when they first started these groups, their powers were based off of some other elements, maybe something that they found native to Earth that was never on their home world or very rare on their home world, and they would eat that. And maybe as the years have gone on, it's in the Girl Scouts at least, it's developed into, they make cookies based off of them.
So like they didn't have sugar on her homeworld?
They like didn't have sugar on their planet, and like they all just react to sugar prepared in different forms differently. And you could get away with the FFA or 4-H thing by like it's sugar.
Okay.
They do milkshakes a lot, I bet. I recall, at least in my high school, they did a lot of milkshake stuff because cows, milk, etc.
It's like, it's just sugar. Okay.
So like sugar is something that they were like they didn't have anywhere on their planet ever, and it just so happens that it reacts with their alien physiology in different crazy ways.
Maybe it's just like all they ever really did and all they ever really needed was the 4 elements. Like they figured out how to do those, and that's what they got by on.
Yeah, that could work.
And then maybe there are other ways to prepare them, but they just have never discovered them yet. Boy, the FFA is all about that ground, you know?
All about it.
And definitely FBLA is about, you know, fire and arson. That's how you make a quick buck.
And you can take that one to the bank.
To the bank. Okay, yes. That works for me. That's more fleshed out. That's good. Good idea, Nate, and not Tanner.
Oh.
Yay!
So we had these people. We don't know how many there were, and maybe that's just something we'll figure out later on. But we do know there was the OG Girl Scout and Boy Scout. Those were very pivotal members of this or something like that. And they left their planet. Their planet was destroyed. Somehow they ended up on Earth. They wanted to avoid the mistakes that their planet had made on Earth, so they created these groups, and these groups all worked together. But these OG whatever were their own Justice League. On Earth, they discovered that if they consumed sugar prepared in very specific ways, then it affected their physiology a little bit, and they could do certain things. What would happen if they just ate raw sugar, do you think?
They get super speed is all I was going to say, because it made me think of cocaine.
Ooh, what if it's maybe just sugar in any form, especially raw sugar, gives them longer lives? And that's how they've lived this long or something like that. Because sugar is something you just eat every day.
Mm-hmm. It's just general power, longevity is what they get.
Yeah. And then something happened, we thought maybe in World War II, that OG Girl Scout lost her memories, lost her power source, but she was still eating sugar every so often, which allowed her to survive this long. And she was just off the grid. The team fell apart, went their separate ways, but their groups all maintained themselves and kept going. And maybe these mythical members that started their team, these groups, fell into legend, I suppose. Mm-hmm, and then something happens where somehow she starts to rediscover who she was. She remembers stuff, and then she is stealing these Girl Scout cookies because she knows, these prepared these specific ways will give me powers, and that will help me remember more of who I was. She gets caught somehow, and maybe that's how OGBS gets onto the scene.
That could be. I mean, that makes sense. Then there's like a news story about it, and he sees that.
He sees her picture, and it's just like, oh my goodness. So he feels bad because something happened, whatever happened in the past, she's remembering more, and did we decide she doesn't trust him, she wants to figure it out on her own, or she's the one who, as she's remembering, she lifts him back up, and ultimately they decide to get the band back together?
I like the second one more because it's less of a boy trying to save the girl, which is...
Yeah, I like that she gets it back together.
Yeah.
Okay. So what all do we need to work on then?
Normally we name the superhero or supervillain, but in this case we have a couple of other things we could name, like not limited to, but like the Boy Scout, the Girl Scout, the organization they were a part of, the planet they came from. Like what kind of things do we want to try and cover just to like keep ourselves sane here?
I think we should only worry about naming her.
I mean, is she just as simple as Girl Scout?
She could be Juliet Gordon-Low.
What is that?
This is the founder of the Girl Scouts.
Oh,
You don't know JGL?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm not up on my JGL.
I know a different JGL.
We could name her Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Maybe she was known as Girl Scouts or Girl Scout way back when, but now as she's reemerging, she's remembering, she decides to go by a different name.
I can go with that. What if her alien name sounds like Girl Scout, but it's not? It's like Girl Scout. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Girl Scoot.
Yeah.
Oh man, Nick Scoot was one of them.
Oh, God.
Oh, I like that. So it's kind of like Kal-El.
Or John. Is his name not John? What is his name really?
John Jones.
Is that his like original alien name?
It's like JONN and then JONZZ or something like that.
Yeah, okay, so that's kind of what I'm thinking of. It's just like it sounds in the end like Girl Scout, but it's spelled in a bonkers weird way.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
Okay. But then what's she called now?
I don't know.
Daisies, brownies, juniors, cadets, seniors, and ambassadors. Ooh, she could just be called Daisy.
Oh,
I'd be all right with that.
I kind of like that. Let's just go with Daisy. We kind of have the powers and the origin of the powers. What weaknesses do they have?
If they don't get their specially prepared sugar, I suppose. Teamwork. They need it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh. What if in addition to that, they sugar substitutes?
Oh.
Bad for
Oh, okay, yeah. That's
Splenda?
really good.
Get a
No,
little
no,
bit of
no.
Splenda in there. Ooh. Good for me, maybe not for you.
Yeah.
Gotta be sugar.
Or if they eat sugar-free cookies or something like that.
Oh, they're tricked.
So costume, we'd sort of touched on the idea of at least her wearing a sash with all the like cookies in the sash. Did we want to? Does she just basically wear her Girl Scout uniform?
Yeah.
Or what are you thinking?
I think so.
Or maybe the Girl Scout uniform was based off her costume, but much more simpler to make. But hers was very armor-esque and
Okay.
had that sash across it. But yeah,
If a Girl Scout was going to do battle.
yes. Holy shit. So on March 12th, 1912 in Savannah, Georgia, the Girl Scouts were created by Juliet Gordon Daisy Lowe.
Are you serious?
She was known as Daisy.
Oh shit.
Are you serious?
I'm totally serious.
Holy cow. Well, yeah, Daisy definitely is her name now then.
So that's exactly why the lowest rank is named Daisies.
Huh.
The more you know. Yeah, her name is Daisy.
Okay. So her current motivation that we have it as of right now is just that she's attempting to regain her memories, and so she's stealing the cookies in a desperate attempt to have access to cookies to get her powers back, to get her memories back, and then assemble the OG heroes that she worked with way back in World War I and World War II.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What would a comic book cover for her look like?
What do we want to portray? Like her at her peak back in World War I when she was with her other teammates, or do we want to show her somehow after whatever the hell happened in World War II?
There's a lot of options. I like the idea of like a World War II propaganda poster.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Could be of just her or of like the whole group. Or it could be her looking like Rosie the Riveter.
I was just thinking
That would
Rosie
actually be
the
a pretty
Riveter.
dope cover.
And that's her. And then in the background, you see flying somehow another one of her teammate, but like very distant, hard to make out. But she is the forefront. She is featured.
Yeah.
Do we want to try and create additional connections to the rest of our pantheon, or do we want this to sort of stand alone as its own node for the time being that other things can connect to?
It would be an easy one to leave as a node since they've been around for like over a century.
Yeah. Well,
The only thing older than these people is Sheriff Coleman.
that's true.
Maybe, we can connect them again one day. Like, it doesn't have to be.
I think, yeah, we're leaving a lot of things open, but I think that's kind of necessary on this one.
We can't figure, if we're going to go big and broad with lore, I think it's almost, you can't figure out all the little tiny details because it's just too much. We'd have to be here for another hour and a half to like nail down all the specifics. Whereas if we leave it open, it just gives us more time to plug in the future.
Exactly.
Do we want to establish what happened to her exactly that made her forget stuff?
I'm kind of good either way. I could see it being a cool thing that we eventually managed to tie in. But I'm also fine if we want to like canonize it right now.
I think leave it open because it would be pretty cool if we could get something else to tie in and be like, this is what happened.
Did we want to say that it was something that happened because of whatever this Boy Scout is?
Yes, it doesn't have to be directly.
Involved.
Yeah, it's just he was there and he blames himself.
Okay, I'm now looking at the ranks of Boy Scouts, thinking that whatever the first rank is what we would name this person, since that's what we named Daisy after. And the first rank is actually Scout, so...
There we go. His name's Scout.
Just Scout. Before I go on, where are we leaving them? She's more or less remembering who she is. She's rediscovering her powers. She's met up with Scout, the OG Boy Scout, and we're leaving her right now that it's their mission to get the team back together in the canon of the universe.
Yep.
Okay. Whew, that was rough, guys.
Yeah.
That was rough, but I don't know. I like what we made.
Yeah, I'm glad we went Alien with it. Our first aliens.
Look
We
at them.
did it. Look at them. I'm very proud. They are strong and they are mine. They are ours.
They're gonna grow up to be such strong young men and women.
Yeah. All right. Well, should I wrap it up?
Yeah, please do.
Let
Please
us
save me.
escape.
Please.
All right. This has been issue number 14 of Headline Heroes, featuring our new superhero, Daisy, the original Girl Scout, and through creating her, we created our first Justice League, I suppose, as well as the first aliens in our universe. As always, we want to take this time to thank Brett Jacobson, who created the art for our show. We also want to thank Carl Sorensen, who created all the music for our podcast. Carl's website is carljsorensen.com. If you have any articles that you come across and you think, hey, these would be fun, I would love to send these in. Send them in to us, and we can talk about them.
We've already had some people do that, right?
Yes,
Drew?
we did. We got 3
Couples.
articles sent in through our email, which is headlineheroescast@gmail.com, or you can tweet them at us at headline_heroes. If you're listening to this on iTunes, it would be cool if you could definitely hit that subscribe button. It helps our numbers. And go ahead and give us a rating and a review, whatever you think is fair. We are open to whatever. I don't care what it is. Just let us know how we can improve if you think there's anything we can do. So again, thanks for joining us, and we hope you'll pick up the next issue of Headline Heroes.